What's up, man?
How you doing, man? Good to
I'm
see
good.
you.
Good to see you too, man.
Back again.
Back to back.
You know, it's crazy. I feel like there's things that happen in life that just stay with you forever. You know what I mean? And I feel like people get extra annoyed, especially when it comes to anything that's like Drake related.
Yeah, well, I mean, he is everywhere all the time, and then the Raptors win. It's like, all right.
Yeah,
I thought it was going to be Drake Summer.
Yeah.
But anyways, welcome.
Welcome, y'all.
Episode 2.
Number
you know
2.
The conversation never ends. Anthony and Amandla.
Welcome to the Anthony and Amandla show.
Yes.
It's great to be back in the space, to be talking with y'all and to be talking with you.
Yep. Anytime is too long.
I'm really enjoying this, man. I'm really enjoying going back and forth and doing this thing. It gives me, makes me feel good that I'm putting stuff back out there.
You know what I'm saying? Creating, giving back.
Yeah. Because, we're creators at the end of the day.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean?
so you got something going on this coming week, or today's Monday, right? So what you got going on later on today, bro?
Well, I'm taking a few days, for myself. For, as you know, I do start school September 9th. Ooh. So I am going to go to Big Bear either later this evening or early tomorrow morning. Hang with my dad, decompress, be in the mountains,
It's nice, it's so nice. It's so
Yeah. I mean, you've been on the lake with me before. I mean, it's the air, the air, right? It brings a lot of calm and ease
it's making me breathe already. You
can't help.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go out there for a couple days and spend some time with my dad, and it's gonna be good, man. We've been working a lot, so. Calm the nerves down a little bit because as the time gets closer and closer, I'm getting a little more anxious each day. So I knew it was going to be necessary to take a couple of days for me.
Nice.
Because at the end of the day, when you're busy as hell, whether it's with your job, whatever it might be, you need to find that time for yourself.
Yes, sir.
Because if you don't, things just get overwhelming. You know what I mean? And next thing you know, the anxiety is skyrocketing when you're at your job, when you're trying to go to sleep, you're thinking about a bunch of things. And, as I'm learning more and more about myself, I legit am just trying to, the self-care thing, trying to take care of me. Yep. And, man, so I'm being Big Bear for a couple of days. Nice. And, if you haven't been to Big Bear, definitely check it out. The lake is awesome. A place like Big Bear is always known for like snowboarding and skiing the wintertime. Yeah. But during the summertime, it's dope as hell. It's so dope. It's warm, but then you get to the lake, it's cool.
Straight postcard action.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go do that for a couple of days and get out of the city, escape reality for a couple of days and do a bunch of reading I got to do. Yeah. And just, enjoy. Take care of some reading for Cal Arts that I got to do. Yeah. But, I'm going to go do that.
You don't forget you got to read it 3 times.
I know, right? I know. Repetition. It's the growing power, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, which is, interesting that we're talking about this because we were talking a little earlier, the three of us. I feel like it's easier and easier for me to be open about where I'm at right now. Just in general. Because as I get closer, I'm getting more and more anxious and nervous and a little antsy at times.
Hey man, it's real.
You know what I mean?
It's that burn. It's coming. It's gonna be uncomfortable. It's gonna be pain and suffering. And there's all different types, but that's something you have to face to get to where you want to be. And I think one thing. So Anthony is getting ready to go to Cal Arts, and I'm 2 years plus out of UC Irvine's MFA drama program, where I graduated. It was like 2017 in drama, and so he's dealing with going into it, and I'm dealing with being away from it. And so we're always talking about, going back and forth about, how to prepare, what's best, what do I learn. I'm learning from him about where he was and how it's different from where I was. And so we're always having conversations about that. And hold on, what was my point? I was getting ready to, do you remember?
No.
All right, hold on, no. So, So, in going about like where you are mentally, I'm always giving going back and forth and giving advice and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so, one of the things that I always think about is like, I wish I would have known like that I was just gonna be a different person. You know what I'm saying? Like, usually you think you're gonna you picture yourself knowing this like new thing, or like, oh, I picture myself the way I am today with the diploma,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if I would have pictured it like, all right, I know where I'm at now, right? And just be open to like, I'm gonna be a different person after
Mm-hmm.
this, and it's gonna be uncomfortable, and the change is gonna feel, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna feel, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna make you feel all the things that you don't want to feel, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, you have to know that that's coming, right? And that was something that I didn't realize. I think that's why when I first started, I had so much resistance, because, man, talk about mental health. So the topic we want to talk about is mental health and just our journeys with it, and, you know, when did we become self-aware with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of when I first discovered that was in grad school, right? Like, even in our undergrad at Cal State Long Beach, like, we were always learning about breathing and releasing, and, you know, all right, why am I looking down at the ground? That's only bringing up, you know, negative energy, negative thoughts. Like, maybe I should look up, breathe in, get the sky, be open. Like, have my arms crossed, all that stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But even when I got to grad school, I was still being so resistant because I wasn't accepting that I was going to be like different, or that this was going to be as tough as it was. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so that's just one of the things I just wanted to relate to you. Like, just know that, bro, you're going to be different. Mm-hmm. Some people aren't going to like it. Some of your family's not going to like it. Some of your friends is not going to like it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Some of your mentors, you might have some rifts with people that you really look up to.
Shit, we might not like it.
Yeah.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I really don't like you. Like, we might fight. No, I'm joking. But you know what I'm saying, though? Like, it's that's one thing that's, it's tough to accept, just because, you know,
For sure.
we like where we are because it's comfortable. But yeah, just something I wanted to relay to you.
Well, you know, it's you know, that idea of like tough love and family fight, you know, like families fight, brothers fight, and
Yeah.
but it's always like the tough love, like it's coming from a place of, you know, you want the other person to do better, right? Like, we want each other to succeed.
Yeah.
You know, we want to push and challenge each other, but how to do that in a like positive, uplifting, like good, positive way is tough, because you don't know how to do that. There's no manual to do that. And so when you brought up the grad school thing, it's like you were fresh out of Long Beach, so no one really was there to be like, hey, this is how grad school is going to be. I am lucky enough to have other friends who are not only in the process now, but who have gone through the process, so I can pick your brains and be like, hey, tell me how it was, so I get the good and the bad and the ugly.
Hey, you get the real, You
know what I mean? True, so you know, and with that,
not a fairy tale.
With that, I know it's gonna be the hardest thing I've ever done. Mm-hmm. And what I love about acting, grad school, all of this, is it directly translates into life, because you can apply it to anything. Mm-hmm. I mean, trying to get your career going, trying to achieve something that is like hard, not easy. You're gonna face the same things, the challenges, the obstacles, you know what I mean? And I think, especially like when we met, what I love is having the ability to just be able to laugh it off sometimes. Because you need to. You need to. Like, if you can't just bring some kind of joy or humor into your life when things are really hard, you know, it's going to be extra hard. You know what I'm saying? That's why, like, when I talk about grad school, I'm like, hey, like, I'm going to laugh through this shit, because how else am I going to cope? How am I going to cope with it besides just talking to people about it? Like, I need to really laugh it off. So yeah, man, it's that thing of like, hey, I'm going to put myself through the fire, and I know I will be changed from it. Because going through something like an acting program anywhere is going to change you for sure, because you'll be facing many things that will, you know, make you feel like, where did this come from? I didn't know I was this way, and who am I? Because I mean, you can definitely speak on that, but yeah, it's about just throwing yourself in the fire.
No, yeah, you're right. Well, I'm curious, because so he's about to start, and I feel like when I started, literally my mentality was, how much rest can I get? Like, I mean, just to show the 180 you go through, right? Like, then my goal was, I'm gonna go through these 3 years where they're telling me I'm gonna be busy all day, every day, acting, all types of stuff. And you know, even my summers and And so the time before, I'm like, all right, because I'm going to expend all this energy, how much can I rest before? Like, that was my goal. The whole summer. I think I did, like, I was part of the Hollywood Fringe Festival, and I think I did Star-Crossed, like this movement thing. Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But it was like, my goal was to have rest, and it was like, man, my head mentally was, like, not ready to work. You know, like, it was clear that I didn't understand what life was about. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so I'm curious as to where your head is going in terms of, like, I guess how you plan to approach these obstacles, because you know you're going to face stuff and you know you're not going to want to do it.
For sure.
And then dealing with this countdown towards it, like the dreaded countdown. I'm curious as to, like, what's coming up. Like, is there any insecurities that are coming up, or are there any certain thoughts that are looping? Like, I wonder why this keeps coming up as I'm starting this. Are there any patterns you're seeing from past pressure-filled experiences that you're like, oh damn, here it goes, this thing following this one, you know what I'm saying?
Well, to start, just acting in general, like, it reveals not only who you are but what your habits are.
Yeah.
And even getting ready, you know, we talked about last episode, we talked about how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yep.
So I'm realizing more and more about those small things that in the moment we might not think is anything, but for real, those things will come up in the acting and the training. So for me, the mindset is a place of like, yo, I'm very grateful, right? I feel very lucky and blessed to just not only to have made it to where I am, but to be able to go to a place like Cal Arts and to just be in the learning environment again. But I get to learn about who I am.
Yeah.
Like, really. And it's about, okay, you ready to face the hard truth? You talk about being real. You know, when I used to do music like 24/7, it was always about I'm real, you know? How real? Are you ready to face like those things that you're truly scared of, your demons? So me knowing that, right? It's scary and terrifying, but it's also like, okay, cool. Like, I can't wait to see how I come out. You know, where I am in 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Because then it's like, oh, you think you know who you are, but really, who are you?
I like that. Yep.
And to sum it up, how real? It is crazy in the sense that I know these things, right? But it's also trying to temper expectations.
Yeah.
And to point them directly at myself.
Yep.
I cannot control X amount of things, but the things I can control are with myself. I can control my discipline.
Yep.
Something like showing up early, on time, whatever that might be. Well, my goal is, all right, cool, I'm going to be early. I'm going to be the hardest worker in the room. Things like that.
Yeah.
Those are my expectations, right? Because removing expectations of the experience is definitely something I'm trying to be like, all right, remember why you're here. And just remember that you're here to work.
Yeah.
And put all the expectation on myself and not on others. And that's the big thing right now, to try and distill one of those questions. But yeah, it is the expectations, the aspect of trying to tamper the expectations.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And aim them directly at myself.
And that's smart.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's definitely smart. That's one of the things that was not on my mind at all. You know what I'm saying? I think that's, and I mean, again, is, you know, you talked about your story before, like,
Yeah.
like you've prepared for this a lot. Like, obviously, this, you know, you're just not now starting to prepare. So it sounds like you're in a really good, healthy place.
Yeah.
I do have one thing I want to bring up that I'm sure a lot of people are dealing with, and I know I deal with, is like the time thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you weren't going into grad school right after you got your bachelor's. You know what I'm saying? You had some years, and then now you're going in, and then maybe you'll possibly be in the class with a lot of younger classmates.
For sure.
Maybe even a lot of younger, elder classmen, you know, the ones that have been there for like 2 or 3 years, or they're on the way out. And I'm curious how, you know, that always ticking clock is working on you in terms of like managing your priorities, like not letting that become your focus and continuing to let, like you said, focusing on what you have to do, the work ethic, the principles and rules and morals that you have in place. Like, how do you keep from that ticking clock distracting you to doing something else or freezing?
Well, just for me, right, it's about day to day, right? Yeah. From my teenage years, I realized, hey, to get through anything, you got to just see what's in front of you, right? Day to day, one day at a time. And because time, I was just telling you this earlier, I felt like I was just auditioning, just getting in, just going to do the visit, and I had all this time. And I was like, I have all this time, I get to do all these things, and I'll be super ready, super ready, right? Yeah. And now, super duper ready now. But now I'm like, oh my gosh, it's 4 weeks away. So, and I think we get caught up in trying to, not just. Yeah. But it's just trying to see what's in front of me, right? Because I get caught up. Right, overthinking things like the future, like, okay, when I'm in school, and it's like, well, what about the summer before? What about today? Like, you got to seize the day, literally. Like, literally, what are you doing today, man? Dang, I mean, you ain't game over, dog. But no, for real, it's
bro. I totally agree, dude. I forget to do that a lot, but I totally.
You know why? Because we're gonna have this conversation right now, and then the next thing I know, I'm gonna be graduating, and then the three of us are going to be talking about this, and we're going to be like, hey, so you stoked for graduation?
Yeah.
And it's going to be one of those things that I just got to
stuff, you know what I'm saying? See me in the theater near you.
This guy. Okay. Imagine if I actually brought that energy, and everyone's going to be like, well, I thought I was weird. Where did that come from?
Anthony, you changed.
I'm like, nah, you just didn't know me when I was a child. I was goofy as hell with my friends.
It's like, hey, no, when I got changed, that's when I changed.
I'm done with you. Okay, but you know what? It's dealing with slowing things down, bro. Slowing things down. And by what I mean is personally, just taking my time. Because sometimes, if I'm going to be real, a lot of times I feel like I got to rush when I speak, because my thoughts are constantly going, and my mouth, my words can't catch up sometimes. So that when I'm talking to you like this, I'm trying to tell a story, and I'm just like, oh my God, dude, and then the other day, and then I'm like, like I'm letting the anxiety run me. So as far as time goes, man, it's learning to slow it down, learning to see what's in front of me and be present, man. And that's it.
Well, how do you... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just wondering, like, you literally use the phrase that catches my mind. I'm gonna keep doing that a lot during this podcast. Like, the phrases that catch me.
I love that.
Something
I love that you catch it.
Yeah, and like you say, you let the anxiety run you. And how many of us, like, are just kind of guilty of that? Letting the anxiety run us. And, I don't know what you were about to say, Amandla, and I apologize for cutting you off. But, like, you're good. Just wondering, like, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Because I know I definitely am guilty of that, right? Letting the anxiety run me, right? Letting it make decisions for me.
Yeah.
Almost.
I mean, just to piggyback, because it's almost like a habit, right? Because I was explaining to you earlier, like, for me, it feels like I'm fueled with adrenaline when I'm literally just about to go hang with my friends and do some cool ass stuff. Bowling, as far as us hanging out and talking, right? Because for some reason, my mind thinks like, oh, we're going into battle. I compared it to wrestling. So, I used to wrestle in high school, and my body feels the same way that I used to feel as I'm literally about to, like, be next to go wrestle the next guy. And, that for then it was handy. It worked. It gave me the energy, the adrenaline, it worked. But now in everyday real life, as far as this anxiety running me, to me, it's like a habit. It's a habit, because it's like I've developed this thing where, I didn't know in the moment. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't know what we're doing half the time. It's all habitual. But as far as, like, the anxiety running me, it's like I'm trying to go from point A to point B, and then I'm starting to think about things. And next thing I know, I'm not focusing on the traffic. I'm not focusing on, like, my breathing. I'm not focusing on these little things that I should be. Instead, my mind is wandering, i.e., or in translation, my anxiety is fueling my thoughts, my actions. It just, in general, it's just guiding my life when it shouldn't be that way. It's hard. It's hard to live that way, bro.
Yeah, it is.
It's really hard, man.
It is. It's like what anxiety is. I guess giving negative energy to like the future or the past. You know what I'm saying? Like anxiety is like a clear sign that you're not being present. You know what I'm saying? That's like, and that's perfect. And one of the things, and what are we doing when we gotta slow down? We gotta
breathe. Just breathe.
It's like it's interesting how like we talk about all these different topics and subjects, but it comes down to like breath.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's like a lot of people think it's like, oh, that seems too simple, and it's like, well, no, it's not simple. Like or how about this? It is simple, but it's not easy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yes, you just breathe, but it's like there's so many things that'll get you out that rhythm, and it's like, man, just breathing. Yeah. Can like feel like that mental health when you have your meter and it's like depleted, you have like no HP. You know what I'm saying? Man, it's like that rare candy, dog, or that sensu bean, bro. It's like
this is a full restore, bro. I don't know what you're talking about. It's a full restore, man. We back in it,
dude. Imagine if we could just have sensu beans on deck,
bro.
If we had the beans just there in our pocket whenever it's like we're feeling depleted, because
Starbucks sensu blend. Sensu bean blend, Starbucks.
Don't coin that because that's ours.
Yeah. Chill. Hey, hook us up. You know what I'm saying?
Cut us the check and then you can have it. No. You know what's crazy, man, is I had a thought, right?
Yeah. Did I make you lose it?
Well, because I wanted to listen. You know, I'm trying to be a better listener.
I feel you.
Talk about habits.
Yeah.
Habitual. You know, I'm trying to be a better listener.
And I'm trying to like interrupt people more, so it's perfect. No, I'm joking.
You said rest, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about feeling anxiety. You know, some of the times I am most anxious. I don't know about you, Jose, but the times I am most anxious is when I am tired. Like, and I mean exhausted, tired, to where I had to either be up early for something or we closed up shop at Alamo and didn't get much sleep and had to do the next thing. Like, I feel really anxious.
Yeah.
You know, it's just odd how being exhausted translates into, you know, anxiety. It's just so interesting.
Well, it's crazy. It's like we're in an exhausted mode because of the clock. You were talking about the ticking clock, right? And so like we're exhausted because the clock is going.
Yeah.
We have something to do next. We have something to do next. We always got to be accomplishing something else. Always got to get to a point of doing something else. And like, I don't know how much, you know, I don't want to sound like the old dude in the room, right? But like how much social media has like maybe just like maxed that just slightly more, because the only thing not the only thing, right? Some people are really real on social media, and that's rare and that's amazing, right? And there's great people that just like, you know, the other day, my friend posted like his feet all bit up from some mosquitoes, right? But that was like one of the realest pictures I've seen, because he was just like, yo, it's really harsh out here, right? But it's like that. Yeah. But that was real, and he was just talking about that. He shared that experience. Yeah. That made me feel so much better. Almost, right? Immediately in comparison to everybody just posting success.
Oh, I feel what you're saying. Yeah.
And in opposition to that.
Yeah, it's like, all right, it's not something that's good that happened to you. Posting just some real stuff that happened.
Right, it was just real.
Yeah.
I got something to say, teachers. No, it's like, no, because, bro, you hit it on the nail, man. So, social media, right?
Right.
People want you to see how good they're doing. They want you to see how successful they're doing, right? They want you to see all of the good. And it's crazy because that's not even half the picture. How often do you see people post about struggling or being in pain or sad or anything negative? You know what I mean? Whatever they're experiencing that very moment, wherever they're at, right? And I just wanted to say, and I don't mean to cut you off, but I just wanted to say it's funny because it fuels, right? We start to compare and be like, oh my God, Sally Mae and Joe Schmo, they're killing it every day. They're happy. They're doing these things. They're married. They have all these things, and I don't. Oh my God, what am I doing with my life? Next thing I know, I'm in traffic and I'm thinking about all this stuff because I'm on Instagram looking at it. And that's, bro, I'm so glad you brought that up, because I feel like a lot of people get caught up in that rather than just being like, you know what? That's their life.
Well, it's the visual ticking clock. It's the ultimate visual ticking clock, and it's got a clock right on top of it. You know, it's crazy. It's like most of the time we're gonna look at our phone to check what time it is. Yeah. But the temptation to look at something else to check what time it is in our lives.
I like that, bro.
Yeah.
I really like that, man, because that's some real shit, for real. Yeah. For real. I don't mean to cut you off, bro.
Oh, no, you're talking.
Okay, I like love what social media provides, right? This idea of connecting everybody. And, you know, if you have a business, whether that's online, whatever, and you get to promote, and there's all these great things about it. It gives you an audience. You know, you want to post, and so people can see, share, comment, like, whatever.
You know,
yeah. If me and you if we, you know, if we all like Jake Gyllenhaal and follow Jake Gyllenhaal, we're gonna be liking everything he does and following every move he makes because we are fans and we like his work and all that good stuff. But I wanted to say this because I'll never forget it. Right, I had a friend. I think it was toward the end of my first year at Cal State Long Beach. I'll never forget this. It was finals week. You know, finals week is hectic. Everyone's stressed. Normal stuff for college, right?
Man, I gotta breathe. When you said it, I had to breathe one time. You know what I'm saying? That brought a little something back one time. They said finals.
Did you say finals week? No. It's crazy because it was so jarring to me because she said, like, verbatim, she's like, I can't wait to graduate. Like, we are getting old. And my dude, like, she was 23. Okay, and I was, I think she's like 6 months older than me. I can't remember exact, but I was 22. Yeah. And I always, you know, you see I have that friend. Yeah, she's a year older than me, or he's a year older than me. So we were early 20s, man.
Yeah.
Like, we're getting old. I can't wait to get out of college. I need to start my life. And I'm like, yo, like, I love college because not only is it like a safe space to learn, but I'm figuring things out for myself. And I'm like, yo, like, how can you say we're getting old, like, with such dread?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, you're barely like a quarter,
bro. Like, not even a quarter. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the ultimate thing, and I'm sure this will come up plenty of times, is like, it's the fear of death. And it's like, all right, so, you know, we have these things that were instilled in us. We want to try to experience as much of what we think we want before a certain time's over. And you know, that's always going to be a thing. But I feel like, alluding to what you're talking about, like social media and stuff, like being unhealthy, it's like, one of the things I'm also realizing is, like, great along with, like, breathing and stuff is, like, having that discipline. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can keep yourself from, like, that social media, or if you or you can, like, all right, I have these certain things I use it for. Can I stay off it for this long? Mm-hmm. Do I really need to use my phone? Is it possible to get a watch? Can I have an alarm clock? Do I need to use my phone as an alarm clock? You know what I'm saying? Like, my mom shared this video with me one time, and it did wonders for my mental health. And I mean, obviously, you know, it's always a struggle, you know what I'm saying? A construction always, right, in progress. But the video was basically like, yo, like, the more time you're spending with your phone is taking you away from what really matters, from what you literally evolved to, like, to be fulfilled and satisfied by, right? It's like each other, it's people. It's like, you know what I mean?
Instant gratification.
Exactly.
Instant gratification.
Exactly. And it's like you're staring at this box, your head's down, you know what I'm saying? You're very rarely looking at your own stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, phones aren't necessarily there to look at your own papers or, you know, stuff like that. And so it's like a lot of what we don't realize, like, trying to go towards what's comfortable or what's convenient or what's quicker. It's like a lot of that's instilled in our lives already. It's like, it's gonna be there. So it's like that discipline along with breath. Like, you have to find discipline. You have to find a way to make sure that you can keep yourself from overstepping that goal of yours, overstepping that boundary, right? So that way you can continue to move forward. Because you see what happens, you get stuck, you feel down, you don't have the energy. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's been times where I haven't gotten sleep and I still have energy for something I'm excited about. Yeah. Whereas I can get all the sleep in the world, it helped, whatever, and then I get to do this thing, and it's like I feel like I didn't get any sleep, and it's like, why? And it's like, well, no reason, no duh.
Yeah.
You're looking at a screen most of the time. Yeah. Are you breathing? Are you communicating?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there was like an Indian guru I think I was listening to once on YouTube, and he was talking about that the only reason we truly procrastinate is because we're about to do something we definitely don't want to do.
Fear. It's fear.
Yep.
It's fear. I mean, you want to talk about, we were talking about finals week, right? And anyone who went to college, most people who went to college can definitely relate to what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
When finals week comes around, what are you doing? You might be studying, but you're probably cramming.
You're probably in class for the first time all year, or second time since the first time.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Oh, my bad, dog. I didn't mean to hit that for you. But you know, it's this fear.
Yeah.
It's this fear of failing the class. You know, not passing that final. You know, not being prepared because you've been partying all semester. I've been there. Like, I get it.
Bro.
Because I did the same thing. I did that. You know what I mean? And Procrastination, man.
Yep.
It's a habit too. It's something that you develop, and it's just like it's so real because a lot of people like really do that shit.
Yeah.
And it happens on a mass level.
Yeah,
For our
sure.
lives, because like you were talking about that energy draining because you're seeing these ticking clocks because you don't have that discipline, that breath, that almost even sometimes like unfortunately the no-so, because there are many people in this generation that's born into this being a reality. They don't remember something different. They don't remember playing Pokemon on something else other than a phone.
Yeah.
Right? Like legit, right?
That's so interesting, man.
So like even that in itself was like, I think I'll bring up Pokemon, ironically, right? Because that game was really about just living in that game after a while. Right? After a while, you finish everything, you're done, you beat the Elite Four, you caught every Pokemon, you're completing the Pokédex, and then you're just like living it.
Yeah.
And it really taught me at a young age to like at least face the reality of like the game's done, but I can keep doing other things. There's always something else to do. There's always something else to like move forward. But like I think going back to my point is that life procrastination happens because that energy is sucked out.
Yeah.
Because now we're doing something we don't want to do.
Yep.
And I'll relate to like my own experience with like college is something I did not want to do. I just didn't. You know, I remember having a conversation with my parents like, do I really have to do this? I'm going somewhere I don't want to go. I'm doing something I don't want to do, right? Chasing down, you know, prospects that I didn't think were going to be good for me. A lot of them were, right? You know, parents have foresight. They really do. It's just the honest truth.
Yeah.
A lot of it was really good for me. Yo, I don't go to school. I don't meet either of you.
Yeah.
We're not here.
Damn, that's so cool.
Right? So that's a whole other thing, right? In itself. But at the same time, it was like I dreaded every day, right? I dreaded every day up to like almost a climax, like I was telling you yesterday about, you know, I had a minor stroke at 22, 23, right? And that minor stroke came, it was stress induced, right?
Yeah.
And I'm gonna look up these numbers right now so I can give y'all statistics because I don't feel like I'm alone.
No.
Especially for the age range, right? You were talking about your friend feeling like, oh, we're getting old at 22, 23. And I feel like right now that is the age, 22, 23. But it's so different like in comparison to literally our parents.
Yep.
22, 23, my dad had like a mortgage. My dad had me, right, to take care of versus like I can't even take care of myself right now kind of thing, right? And it's... You know, but it's a real thing. It's a real struggle. I feel like there's no way we're alone in that.
For sure.
Right? And there's no way that we're alone in that messing up our health. So I'm going to look up these numbers, and I just want to hear you guys' thoughts.
Yeah.
It's... So he brought up what his parents were doing or his dad was doing at that age, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back then, you get away with getting out of high school and just getting a job and you can make it. And the reason I bring that up is because when you said that, the first thing I thought was, today, the bachelor's ain't even enough. How many friends do we know have bachelors and are struggling? And when I say struggling, I mean struggling. Like to the point where it's like, I got to get a job and I got to do this and I got to do that. I mean, I just thought about it because... You know, older generations, our parents, you know, talk about simpler times. I believe that, man, because back then, there was no internet. There was no social media. There was nothing to fuel anxieties like what we have today. Like looking at a timeline, seeing other people's lives together, and they have it all. You know what I'm saying? And
I mean, kind of. Well, no,
proceed. Feel free to continue. Feel free to continue. I want to hear what your thoughts are.
Well, no, So I think one of the big differences, so I think when it comes to procrastination, I think procrastination definitely happens, obviously, you know, when there's stuff that you definitely don't want to do, but I think procrastination, I guess, feel like in its entirety comes up almost every time when it's like, it could be something you want to do, it could be something you don't want to do, it could be something somebody's making you do, it could be something that you're choosing to do, but that the anxiety comes up just because, like, it's not easy.
I was gonna say it because
it's
hard.
Saying? Like, you know, like when you like, it's okay. This is gonna take some time. I'm gonna have to learn. I'm gonna fail.
Yeah, for sure.
So then you start feeling some type of way about failing, And it's like, and then that start. You know what I mean? It's like, if you just hold up. Oh, dang, I lost my thought.
Well, I'm glad because you brought up that, right?
Yeah,
about
yeah.
failing.
Yeah.
We are conditioned. I brought this up last time.
Uh-huh.
We are legit conditioned to succeed, to not fail, to not have the wrong answer. It's like that TED talk I shared with you about that guy. I can't remember his name, but he's talked about having the right answer. If you don't have the right answer, you will be punished. Give me the right answer, please. And it's that idea of we are not told to, hey, go out there and fail big, go do your thing. So by the time we're in high school, by the time we're in college, we're legit conditioned to only see success. And anything below that is not good. There's nothing you can learn from failing. And it's like, hey, maybe someone will disagree with that, but I was never told, hey, you know what, man? Go fail. Go fail at a bunch of things that you want to do and the things that you dream about. Go fail at that because you will learn and you will grow. Bro, I didn't know about that until Cal State Long Beach, bro.
Oh, that's true.
I just don't remember it at all because that fueled my fear.
Yeah.
Because my mom was like, you need to get good grades. You can't skip school, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, like, I need to go do these things because if I don't, I'll get in trouble and my parents will get mad at me and they'll, whatever it might be. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it's this idea of having to always succeed. And if you're not being successful, if you don't have your life together, if you don't have a purpose and you're finding out, I'm here for this reason on this planet, then it's nothing. It's like, if you're not first, you're last.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And it's like, there's got to be more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I feel like, and I feel like the other side, like, you have that coin, right? So I feel like, but then I feel like on the other side of that coin, unfortunately, it's like, and obviously I feel like a lot of people just don't want to do the work.
Oh, for sure.
Because that's definitely a difference in generations.
You want to lose weight in 30 days? Take this pill. You want to do this in like instant gratification. You want this thing done in a short amount of time without having to do all the work? Do this, take this.
You know what I'm saying?
Pay for that.
And when in history has that ever led to like lasting, enduring, strength, growing results? It's like never. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But like that's all we want. Yeah. And so it's that coin of like, all right, it's okay to fail, but then you have to put, like you said, you have to have some stakes to it. You have to have some serious. That's what it is, bro. I feel like seriousness. You know what I mean? I feel like people are afraid of seriousness. They always want things to be light. They always want things to be up, funny, laugh. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even to the point, so when you go into rehearsals, how often have we seen actors come in, they're not treating the space like with the respect, they're not coming in ready. They're coming in casual, they're talking, they're chewing gum, they're eating coming in, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, or it's like rehearsal starts at 6 and it's 6:03
bro,
and they're still on their phone and doing. I'm like, I'm on the stage, I'm like,
bro, different. And I can't always speak for, because I feel like each generation, everybody has their faults, right? But I guess the thing that we saw, even if we didn't know behind the scenes, we recognized, at least from the outside, it seemed like they had some seriousness about their job. They took pride in what they did, and I feel like now we give ourselves the permission to just throw anything up without giving it any thought. And it's like, no, be creative. But like, make sure it's a decision and not always just out of instinct, just something you're just throwing up just because you feel it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, we get that, but like, let's put some thought into it. Let's put some purpose. Let's have some seriousness. Because then if not, you're just out here self-gratification, instantaneous, no long-lasting relationships, always wanting to hit it and quit it.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm a fan of thinking that way, and because for whatever reason I feel like it's better, but it's like habits. Like how you do one thing is how you do
everything. Yeah, and you know what's crazy is
dang it, I hate that, bro. Oh my gosh, bro.
Because you catch yourself doing it, and honestly, man,
I'm so annoyed.
Hey, you were the one that brought this up to me, but it comes down to this. Ready? You ready for it? You ready for it? Awareness. What are you aware of, like actually aware of, right? As far as your habits, what's going on in life, and these things, right? Are you aware of these things? Because I forgot the conversation we were having, but then you were like, bro, you know what it is? Awareness. Because the thing that's been getting me to where I am right now is like, because I'm aware now, whereas a lot of people aren't. And that's a very vague, broad thing to say, but it's just it can translate into anything, right? Like not being aware of who I am, right? and not being aware of like the things that make me me.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I know that I like to have a good time, have fun. We can laugh about literally anything, bro.
Yeah,
anything.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
And we often do.
Yeah, and then you know what I realized in doing that is that it also there's a little bit of like this, right? A little bit of seasoning of the humor and having fun and laughing that goes with coping, right?
Yeah,
because it's like talked about laughing it off, because it's like, hey,
we laugh. Well, we laugh. Damn, we laugh a lot of stuff off.
you know what I'm saying? But you know what's crazy?
That's probably one of the reasons why we're so close is because we laugh. We like to laugh stuff off together.
Bro, I mean, how many references to
The
how many
two
things?
sad clowns just like always smiling like. We're like, oh my gosh, you guys are such good friends. You guys have such great chemistry. We're like, no, yeah, we're happy. You know, like life's good. And it's like,
Nothing's wrong ever.
We're good. I just slapped a whole bottle of Jamie.
Anthony, you must have fun all the time. Yeah, while I'm drinking. Anthony, you must be at IK's all the time. Yeah, I have a great time there, especially when I'm alone and I'm in pain. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's the awareness, man.
Yeah.
We talk about mental health. We talk about where we are and all these things. But literally, it's about, hey, how aware am I? What am I feeling right now?
Mm-hmm.
Am I anxious? Why am I anxious?
Oh, wait, keep that thought. Keep that thought. I just got to call us out. So we literally just talked about laughing it off, and we literally just laughed it off. So I'm not going.
It was an uncomfortable laugh too. It was an uncomfortable laugh. Hey, yeah.
Recognize that, but all right, but go ahead. I just didn't want to think. Hey, we trying to call it out here. We're just trying to be honest here.
And you know what else it is too? It's like it's a release.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because when things get real, what do you do with the tension, right? You want it to go away. You want to release it,
bro.
So
I go straight like just. I go like, what was the X-Men, like the Colossal? I just go, turn in the middle. I just like, wait, what? I ordered the wrong food for the wrong table. Oh my gosh! I need a manager.
Bro, dude, don't do that. I'll die on the floor.
I catch cramps in my trap. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Where's Anthony? I'm all like this on the ground. Hey guys, help me up, please.
All like curling. But yeah.
No. I think the awareness.
Mm-hmm.
When I started to realize the things I was afraid of and like what made me, you know, kind of going back to what I was saying, it opened the big questions, which is we can also say like, what's, you know, the hard truth about things that you have to deal with that you aren't dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Because it's funny that we talk about grad school, and you asked me earlier, it's like, oh, how you feeling, you know? And I'm like, yo, I'm feeling hella anxious because I know, and I probably told you this too, Jose, but it's like, I know that when I get there, like last episode, it's like, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? How bad do you want it?
Mm-hmm.
Now the voice is going to start saying like, how deep are you willing to go?
Yeah.
Oh, you say you want to like come here and do the thing? Are you ready to like ask the big question? You want to get real? You want to get vulnerable? How vulnerable? Because there's some doors that you were afraid to open.
Yes.
How far do you want to go?
Yes.
How far do you want to go? Literally, like, and it can go across the board on anything. Literally, bro. Like, it's like, how far do you want to go with this job? Yeah, you want that job? You want that career? You want that position? Okay. How bad do you want it? You want to get in that school? You want to go to that school right there? That one specifically? How bad do you want it? What are you willing to do to get what you want?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like with grad school, and I just know literally like the fire, like you can say, oh yeah, like I went through the fire, I went through the grind. And it's no, literally, bro, like it's like a mirror waiting for me over there. It's
You
like
know
a
what I'm
mirror being like, hey, you ready to see who you really are?
Yeah. That's what it's going to be. It's going to turn the tables back to what are you really experiencing in your life?
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, and we're probably not going to talk about it this time, but you're dealing with a lot of other stuff. We just won't bring it up right now, but you're dealing with a lot of other stuff other than grad school.
Yeah.
Some stuff that's way more important and real than grad. I mean, we love some grad, we love some learning. But there's some stuff in life that's important. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, life. We're talking about life, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Like,
So like, there's some stuff you're definitely dealing with.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how it's like dealing with that mixed with this real life stuff, because that's the interesting part. You think they're gonna put the magnifying glass on the work, and what there gonna do is say, all right, what are you really experiencing? But I do want to, as like almost like a wrapping up thing. You were talking about awareness. I think that's exactly where it starts. Like if you can possibly remember to breathe, like please with all means make sure you keep your mind under your breath. But awareness, right? Like you don't realize you're tensing up until someone points it out. Until you have someone that gives you the gift of sight of like, oh, like, dang, I thought I knew my body, but I didn't realize like I was holding this in my neck, I was holding this in my jaw, I was clenching my teeth, or you know what I'm saying? And so I feel like awareness is definitely a healthy and solid foundation to start when it comes to mental health.
Yeah, and then, you know, just speaking upon that, right? Those things you described are like when I had my minor stroke, right? It was minor, and I was one of the lucky ones, and it wasn't long.
Thank goodness.
But exactly. Those are the exact things that happened to me. That exact thing happened. Like I was telling you, my lost kind of tension, you know, ability to like use my hands completely, right?
Yeah.
It was super tense. My jaw locked up. All of these things locked up, and they only lasted for a second, right?
Yeah, but a second is too long.
It's too long. It's only lasted for a little bit. It wasn't like long or prolonged. It's just like my thoughts afterwards were like drifting.
So scary, bro.
Right, and like I was looking up these numbers. These are older numbers, right? But like the rise of strokes in young people has been observed to like it grew from 13% to 19% from 94 to 2005, and I can only suspect. And in younger people, right? Strokes in younger people. I can only suspect since 2005, right? This is pre-collapse of the economy.
Yeah.
Right?
Pre-social media,
Pre-social media, pre-almost a lot of these, like, you know, certain attacks. But, like, the anxiety has, I'm sure, only gone up, right? Because mine was migraine-induced, right? Then once, like, we figured it out, it was like the stress caused the migraine so big that it caused these stroke-like symptoms throughout my body. So I can only suspect, right? But it's a stressful time, those years, and like you're just going off of like this conclusion, because we're trying to reach this conclusion, is like take care of yourself.
Self-care.
Like take care of yourself, rest, sleep. It's not that important.
Real self-care, not make yourself I had a bad day, so I'm gonna get some ice cream because it makes me feel better. Hey, on some real stuff, because that's what I do. If I get off super late and I feel some type of way about getting off late, I'm going to McDonald's. I don't care.
Let me tell you how many times I hit up Jack in the Box in college at 2 a.m. because I had just gotten out the library. It's the only thing that's open, and the munchie meals when them came out.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, so make sure that it's so. And talk about ironic, right? You want to talk about ironic? So in going towards the healthiness to feel better, you got to go towards the stuff that probably don't taste as good. You got to run.
Like
you got to work out.
Veggies.
You know what I'm saying? So it might not obviously immediately feel like, oh, it's helping me, but I'm telling you, it does you serve it, and just keep an eye on your thoughts. I bet you they haven't. Just what was it? Our acting teacher, Hugh. He said he gave us an assignment. He said I think it was like for a day. He was like, just keep an eye on your thoughts.
Yeah.
Just see where your thoughts go. Don't control them. Don't try to make them positive or negative. Don't try to. He's like, just keep an eye on them.
Just track them. He said to track them.
And then you'll start to see, okay, so I switched this up in my life. I started doing this more, and I noticed I'm doing. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, I'm so glad you brought that up. You know why? Because when I did that, I feel like talk about awareness. Like that's when it really started for me. Because right off the bat, I realized that how you start your morning will dictate how your day goes. Whenever I was either late or just running behind, or the bus was late, like I was at the bus stop, but the bus came 20 minutes later than it should have. It literally drove, like my mind, talk about mindset and like my thoughts and where I was going, bro, all negative, right? And then I started to realize like, oh my God, like it was like checking in. Yep. You're talking about like trying to like assess. So if you're having a shitty day, if you're feeling whatever type of way you might be feeling, I feel like it's rare for us to be like, okay, I am feeling this way. You know, I am feeling like a buttload of anxiety right now, like a shit ton. Okay, I just need to take a couple deep breaths. Okay, you know, I just need to get through this traffic. Like immediately, just me saying that to you guys, like I'm feeling better.
Yeah,
I'm feeling better because it's like coming back down to earth because we're so like uptight and tense that we never bring it back down. You know what I'm saying?
So let everybody know what we want them to do.
Breathe.
Breathe. I mean, breathe and like I said, breathe and be self-aware. And again, you know, look, we're not experts. We're not saying that you should definitely try. Look, if you're like, hey, fuck y'all, I got kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, we get it.
Yeah, that's a real
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We get it. But if you have time to just try these simple things, they're free.
Yeah.
You can do them anytime, and they've helped us. And we felt like we've been fortunate enough to learn from like professionals. So feel free to try them. And yeah, that's been episode 2. man. Yo, it's been great. Thank you again for tuning in. Thank you, Jose. Again, thank you, Anthony.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
and
Family.
thank you, Amandla, and a quick shout out to Ethos for again holding us down.
Yes.
You know, for creating the space for us to not only just chase our dreams, but to keep this conversation going. And you know, we just want to encourage everyone to just go out there, fail big.
Yes.
Fail big.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you love and want to do in your life, go fail big at it. And thanks for tuning in. Catch us next time with Anthony and Amandla and Jose. Hey, there we go. There we go.
All right, love y'all. Peace. Love you, mommy, daddy.
Hey, there you go.
Sick.